Buongiorno from our home in Sicily. Well, if you haven't heard yet, yes, Mama Etna, our volcano is putting on quite a show. And let me tell you, on August 7th, 8th, that it's been doing a lot of boom, boom, boom. We're about, let's say, 20 miles away from where the eruption is, but we can certainly hear it. And let me tell you, there was plenty of ash on the ground to clean up today. Now, let me tell you guys, this is normal. This is what it's like living under a volcano, and we are, and no one is under any danger. So let me just start out with that.
This is what they call a strombolian eruption. That's the safest type of eruption. The ash and goes straight up about 20,000 feet into the air, and then the wind takes it usually to the Ionian Sea. What happened with this eruption, which closed the airport down yesterday, was that the wind shifted and it went towards the airport. And she'll tell you about the disaster there was at the airport yesterday. But wait a minute, let me just finish about a strombolian eruption. Uh, Fortunately, there isn't any summit like there was in Vesuvius that blows up. Okay, so these are what they call flank eruptions,
Right.
side eruptions. Okay, and the lava is flows into the valley of the Bouvet or the valley of the Leone, right? So net, it makes beautiful photography, unbelievable photography, but very little to no danger whatsoever to the population at all.
Yeah.
Now there is one last thing. I can't remember what it's called, but it was like a cataclysmic type of an eruption, where really the only thing that you could do there, Esther, is open your legs and kiss your butt goodbye, because that's what Vesuvius had
But this
with
is a
that poison
different.
gas. That's not happening in this one.
Okay, so let me tell you about the cancellations at the Catania Airport because, as Alfred said, the clouds, the ash clouds, moved over the Catania Airport, and every single morning at 3 a.m., they assess the situation whether flights are able to depart or not. And it was assessed for 2 days that flights were canceled. Now, Catania Airport has reopened, but it does cause a lot of frustration. But you know what? Better safety than that. Now, let me tell you a couple things. You may have seen some pictures of the airport where people are sitting on the ground and laying around and waiting for information, any type of information on the flights. That does happen, and a lot of times it's really the airline's responsibility. The Catania Airport makes the decision. There's not going to be any flights going on from, let's say, 6 a.m. to 6 p.m., but then they let all the airlines know. And I saw a lot of people complaining that the airport didn't do it. That opens up a whole other topic of conversation of whether the airport should be privatized or not. I'm not sure today's the
Well,
right topic to discuss, but it did cause a lot of headaches for people who had flights canceled.
well, to put the cherry on the ice cream here, this week is Ferragosto, next week Saturday. So half of Italy is traveling into Sicily, and the other half of Sicily is traveling out of Sicily. The damn thing couldn't have happened at a worse time. That's why there were so many people there. Now, when a flight gets canceled, the ground crew gets overwhelmed because they don't have really any time to react. Okay, so when they cancel it under the European rules, you have you get €4 if they give you €4.
Like even every time
That's
you
like
say
five
it, I'm
bucks.
like,
A piece of pizza over there is like $6, right? So people were up in arms yesterday. It was just
and
hilarious.
my heart goes out, to the elderly, to the disabled, to people with children waiting around. And it is August. That means temperatures in the 90s. So not a good situation. I did see someone writing that even Malta airport was closed. So yeah, Etna is huge and it affects a lot of this of the area that we live in. But I want to reiterate that we are about 20 miles from where that eruption is happening. And as Alfred said, it is going into a valley. And on our Facebook page, I did post some pictures that were taken by some of our tour guides that are licensed to go in some of these areas. Now, the park, the Etna Park is closed, where a lot of those areas are closed, and officials are keeping an eye out because it is dangerous to go there if you don't know what you're doing. But I'm talking about up there.
You know, I remember 20 years ago, I went there with a friend of mine after the eruption happened, Esther, and we were literally 10 feet away from the lava flow. He says, "Don't worry about it. It's hardened up." And he stepped on it, and all of a sudden, the bottom of his sneakers or his shoes, they started to go like this. They were
It's
burning,
hot.
right? He almost went crazy. He must have jumped 14 feet in the air and off the thing. It is dangerous to go up there if you don't know what the heck you're doing.
If you're not with a licensed guide.
Yeah,
Now
you
you
have to
can
be with-
go to Refugio Sapienza, which is one of the parks where you can walk on a crater, Silvestri crater, and there's some other, touristy things to do that. That is open. It's just some of the areas on the other side where a lot of people go hiking with professional guides.
And there are three other airports coming into Sicily. The biggest one, other than Catania, is in Palermo. And then you have Trapani on the west coast, and then you have Ragusa further down south. So, what are you going to do? You have Etna. What do you think's going to happen? Nothing. Of course, something's going to happen. But anyways, it's been a lot of fun.
Let me tell you that just some housekeeping updates. I don't know if you guys been following this, but we had a broken air conditioner. Boom! Right beginning of August. Boom! Went out. Then our refrigerator has been coughing and trying to keep up there. Alfred named our refrigerator Larry because it's so hot. The motor is working on extra overdrive, and so it died a little bit, but we were able to revive it thanks to Alfred's old, very, very old method of ice boxes.
Well,
remember before refrigerators?
First of all, both of these were operator error, and I'll take complete responsibility because I was a procrastinator because I heard the air conditioner was making a lot of noise before I went to the States. So I said, "Out of hell with it. I'm going to the States. I'll fix it when I come back." Little did I realize that the compressor on the AC went. Now, why did the compressor on the AC go? Wasn't an old one, and it has to do when we had a cyclone Harry over here back in when was in March, because the sea blew all the mist and drenched our house that side for two or 3 days, and the sea water got into the AC unit, corroding the electronics there. That's what the problem was with that. For the refrigerator, first of all, we bought a cheap one. I mean, we bought one that was Chinese, Mexican parts made in China. Hisense is the name of the brand. And I knew that there was problems on that because one day I opened up the refrigerator and the butter was like, soft. What happened though is I remember when I was a kid, because she doesn't remember this, but I do. We had an ice box in our house, which was an insulated box about as big as a hope chest. And the ice man would come once a week, or when it was really hot, with 2 huge chunks of ice. And my grandfather had an ice pick, boop, 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 and we put it in the refrigerator. So I says, "Hey, Esther, let's do the same thing." So what we did was we bought a whole bunch of ice, not a whole bunch of ice, like 3 bags of ice, and we put it in the ice freezer and also the compartment below. And wouldn't you know, that was just enough to give this little guy some breathing room. So today, for the first time, it's actually
Yesterday too.
yesterday manufacturing ice. So maybe it's not going to be, dead all at all.
I think we'll wait a little bit.
Yeah, we're going to wait a little bit, but it's kind of interesting how, we have all these amenities from the States, huh? My refrigerator in the States was, top of the line. I had a thing for ice, water. I had plenty of storage.
We're stocked.
These guys over here are little. They're little ice boxes. They're not really like big ones like we have in the States. So the compressors, when it's this hot for
Working extra
this
hard.
long, they just can't keep up.
All right, let me say hello to a few people and answer some questions. If you guys have any questions, this is the time to do it. Are you cleaning dust from Etna? Seems like the dust is going south towards Ragusa. Oh, yeah. This morning, not as bad as it has been in the past, but I did have to sweep. There is a lot of ash on the ground. I remember 2 years ago, there was like, it was raining ash and we had to, fill up bags and bags of dust. And, then the question becomes, what do these towns do with all the ashes, bags and bags of ashes? Because this is not like the United States where we have snow removal and snow also melts. But what do you do with the ashes? And so the towns have had to figure out how to find a space or also recycle some of the ash. So it's definitely been a problem. Let me just talk. Mark Spalding had a good question. How's the water situation there in Calabria? And I had no issues. I got to Clifton in Calabria. We thankfully so far have not had any water issues. I didn't see any. Usually in Agrigento, there's water issues in the middle of the island, and Enna, there's usually, but I haven't seen anything.
We
So,
haven't had any issues whatsoever with electricity. Now watch tonight, the
oh
electricity
boy,
goes
yeah.
off. The water, we haven't had any of those, but I wanted to just go back to this ash issue. See, here's what the problem is with the ash, because ash, of course, is good for the soil, okay? It's got a lot of nutrients and stuff. But what happens is when it lands on the surface roads, it gets mixed in with the surface oils, all right? So then it becomes a problem of environmental nature. So that ash has to be collected, segregated, treated. And I remember last year we did a story at the University of Catania
With Professor
because
Faraci.
with Rosario Ferraci that they have contests. What can you do with what can you do with the ash? And I remember somebody won first prize with that, right?
He used it for some kind of a farming, because
Yeah.
the ash acts as a fertilizer. So he was able to figure out how to distribute ash on farms at a very little, so not to hurt them, but just to give it enough nutrients. And this was at the University of Catania startup competition. That was very, very cool.
Yeah, I remember I got into trouble, not trouble, but like a lot of trouble. A couple of years ago, our gutters were filled with
Oh.
ash. And the guy, we hired a guy to go up there to clean them. So it was like big buckets and buckets. So I went downstairs and I threw it on the ground that where our plants were growing. I figured, oh, it looks nice, it's black, right? And it did kill the weeds, but you're not supposed to do that because that's untreated. That was untreated things. And before we go on, I need to give a shout out to my pal Joe Render, whose birthday was this week. He's a youngster, and I miss him, and he's a Red Sox fan. And by the way,
And he's one of our regular
go Red
travelers.
Sox, and my deep sympathies to Stephen Lane from New Orleans, a diehard Yankee fan who sees that the Red Sox are nipping at their bud. What do you think about that, Steve Reno?
All right, so let me tell you what I did and what's going to be on next week's show, because this was kind of a neat thing for me to do. Now, did you guys see the video on Palazzo Biscari? That is that beautiful palace in downtown Catania. It has 600 rooms, not just in one building, but spread over the whole compound. Has 600 rooms. It was owned by one of the most influential and one of the richest families, the Moncada. Now there initially was Biscari, now the Moncada Castello family. And I got to interview one of the descendants, and it was really cool. So what we did was walk around downtown Catania. This guy is like a mayor. He knew everyone. He took me to his fish place. He took me where he buys his olives, his cheese, where he gets his coffee. We're walking around. He even knows the newspaper guy. So it was really neat. And that interview is going to be next week. It was really an honor to meet him. He's really humble. He's really an everyday person who just happens to be a descendant of a major noble family. So that's going to be in next week's video. So that was a lot of fun.
If
The
you-
other, yeah.
if you guys come to Catania on the way from the
Yes.
airport into the city before the Duomo, you see a beautiful statue, except the statue's got no head. Uh, that was one of his original descendants because they had an uprising or something because that guy was a rich guy that built the castle. Boop, they chopped the statue's head off then. But this is what you call nobility, okay? Catanese nobility. There aren't too many people left because everybody says, oh yeah, I'm descended from a baron and this and that. But this guy walks around the town like he owns it. And he's got that air about him. Esther came back, she was very, very impressed about that.
Very impressed. And he even, walking around, he was gathering stuff for his dinner that he cooks. They used to have a lot of cooks, but then he said to me, you know what, I didn't want the cooks anymore in the house because I love cooking. So we talk about some of his favorite dishes, etc. So the other big thing was, we've been getting a lot of comments about the Odyssey. I want to know, have any of you guys watched the Odyssey, Christopher Nolan's Odyssey, based on
Homer's two books, the Iliad, which was the first book,
and then the Odyssey.
and the Odyssey, which was the second book.
Over 2,500-year-old story, and now they're making a book. And it's the fun thing for us, and we talked about this in last week's video, is that one of the scenes, although not shot here in Acitrezza, depicts Acitrezza. So it's really fun to see. But as the mayor of Acitrezza pointed out, in the movie, there was only one rock. Here in Acitrezza, there are three. But the other thing is that it was shot in Lipari and Favignana. So those are two islands, one on the Aeolian, one of the Aegean islands over there in Trapani. And you know what? Why not? Little good publication for Sicily. We don't mind that.
Wait a minute. Here's what I know, Esther. You didn't give the biggest news of all. I talked Esther into next April, probably the middle of April. We're going to do an Odyssey tour, all right? Where we're going to go to a lot of the places where the actual book was, the centers of where the book was, and also to the Liparian Islands, both to Lipari and also, I believe, to Volcano, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
That was another one of the scenes where it filmed in Volcano.
And I'm pushing right now. I want to have a toga party, but I almost have it. I almost have her talked into a toga party, and the reason we picked April, middle of April, is prices for the airlines are lower, prices for the hotels are lower, and folks were going to be eager to do business
and it's
with us.
Before the mega onslaught
that's what I'm saying,
of tourists come.
Right.
But I want to go back to the Odyssey.
So why don't you come next year? That's the whole point. I was wanting to bring that up.
Let me go back to the Odyssey. Because for me, the story of the one-eyed Cyclops and how he threw the rocks at Ulysses, or Odyssey. Odyssey is his Greek name. Ulysses was his Roman name. It's the same person. Let's just keep it at Ulysses. But I tell that story when we're at Acitrezza all the time. I must tell that story almost on all of our tours. And for it to be now on the big screen, it to me is, it's like, that's so crazy. And the other thing is, a lot of people, I don't want to go into politics or anything, but a lot of people are complaining about maybe some of the people were not cast properly or whatever. It's mythology. It's meant to be interpreted the way the person wants to interpret it. The book was written 2,500 years ago in Greek. Interpretations, everyone will have a different interpretation. The important thing is that the Odyssey's out there again, and Alfred told me he read it in grade school.
8th grade going into high school.
I think every kid should.
The first year, we had to do Greek mythology. That was a great book. The Iliad and the Odyssey. And we had to write 3 5-page papers. On the first day of class, they had to be handed in. And that summer, going in to my freshman year at Austin Prep, is when I really fell in love with that. And I also fell in love with Northman myth as well. I got into that. As a matter of fact, for my birthday, I want to show this to you. My daughter Jen, if you can see this over here.
It's a little hard to see. Wait, put it against the white.
Ah, that's a good idea. This is what you call Thor's hammer. This was the hammer that Thor had, Mighty Thor. And I always wanted one. So I have always had an Orthodox crucifix from St. Petersburg. My daughter Jen got this for my birthday, and Katie, by the way, from Ukraine. So isn't it ironic? I have a Thor's hammer from Ukraine
Yeah.
with an Orthodox crucifix from St. Petersburg, Russia,
So
right here.
back to my point
Yeah.
that I was trying to make about the Odyssey, that every kid should read the Odyssey because it has some lifelong lessons that have endured over the hundreds of 2000 years. A lot of lessons in that movie, a lot of about perseverance, about love, about uh, temptations and things like that. So I think it's worth reading the Odyssey or going to watch it. And no, we're not getting sponsored by them, but we're just happy that they
No, listen,
talk.
Esther, honestly, another book that you ought to read, if you got to read books, I'm a book reader, okay? You need to get the best picture of ancient Rome is a book by a guy by the name, a professor from London by the name of Tom Holland. It's called Rubicon. So the four-book set that I would recommend would be Greek mythology, the Iliad, the Odyssey, and that. And if you're really good about it, read about Aeneas, the Aeneid. Those are five of the most classical books there are that really set the tone, Esther, for Western civilization. Matter of fact, I have copies upstairs someplace of the.
You know what I've been reading a lot of is the Stoics, because the Stoics, those
That was
Greek
later. Yeah,
Stoics, have again
right.
enduring lessons that we can use in everyday life. And they were writing about this, and it really has to do with just the human personalities and so forth, because when you think about it, we're all humans and have many of the same emotions, and a lot of them talk about overcoming and managing and dealing with this. But speaking of books, we'd be remiss not to mention,
Not
well,
that.
you guys know that Alfred has his four books, but his brand new books, this one last year, which was really a pleasure working with you on this one, my 75-year-old Sicilian life, a beautiful photograph in Castellamare.
Can I say something about my books?
Yes,
All right.
go ahead.
Can I have that book?
Wait, let me finish. Let me finish. And this one just came out, The Infinity Protocol. And Alfred and I also wrote this one, and these are all available on Amazon. But the most exciting thing, before you talk about that, is the new book that's based in one of my favorite periods in Sicily. And tell us about it, Alfred.
Well, first of all, I'm going to go back to the beginning and
Which
please give me
one?
my 75-year-old Sicilian life. See this book over here? I reduced the price for summertime reading. Like when you get stuck in the airport, this is the book you want. There's about 30 essays. There's hilarious essays. You will laugh while your plane is delayed. That's number one. Now, what I'm doing with this book, though, by Christmas time, I'm going to expand this essay. This is a collection of essays into a 250-page, full-blown book like my other books are. So that's one. Number two, may I please have Infinity Protocol? Infinity Protocol was based on a screenplay that I wrote over 20 years ago, and for 7 months, and I have to mention my daughter Katie, as well as Esther, we novelized it. Okay, put that back. That's a story about Navy SEALs going back in time to the year 33 AD when Christ was walking the earth. It's a great book in terms of action. And I loved it so much that we wrote a sequel to it. It's actually going to be a 3-book trilogy. It's called, what's it called? Infinity Paradox. And that's going to be coming out within a month or two. And then finally, the other book, remember my first book, The Reverse Immigrant? Well, I'm writing a book now, 18 years later, called Reverse Immigrant Revisited, which is in its final stages, because I promised people that I would have 2 more books by the end of the year. And it's been a lot of work, Bunny.
I know.
It's been a lot
I
of
have
fun.
to tell you that there's
And
a chapter in this next book And let me just give you a
Yeah.
hint. It has to be, what was it
There's a
called?
whole chapter on Esther.
Wait, what
in
is it called?
The
And then
Reverse
came,
Immigrant.
and then came Esther.
And then came Esther. Why not? You know, I mean, come on. I'm so
I have to tell you, I've read a lot of your books and your writings, but your writing seems to get better and better and better and better. And that one of the chapters you wrote about me for this next coming book just had me in tears. So
Well, that's good.
bravo,
That's a good thing to have.
bravissimo. All right, so let's talk about what's coming up this week for us. This week is Ferragosto, which is the Assumption of Mary, right?
No,
No,
it's an ancient Roman thing.
No,
See,
but
named
it's
after
no, it's
Augustus.
wait a
You
sec.
basically
No,
shut
there
out-
is
You shut down the whole of Italy. They give
There
the
is a
Italians have
holiday.
any excuse at all to take a few
wait a
days off.
second. It is a religious
Ferragosto
holiday.
was
Assumption of Mary, I was right. Assumption of Mary. So anyway, the Assumption of Mary, that's on the 15th. By the way, if you're
the
planning
15th.
coming to Sicily, be prepared that a lot of places are going to be either super packed or people will be on vacation. It is one of those periods. It's the last hurrah, the last summer hurrah before people go back to school and so forth. So it is a holiday, but you know what?
What?
It's on a Saturday, and we've been invited to go to our neighbor's house. So
Yeah, we're gonna
that's
go
gonna
up
be
to
fun.
Padada. It's up higher. It's by the other side of the Castagni. We're gonna go there for a day or two. I don't even
a day.
understand.
Wait, stop. Your daughter, Katie Ray,
Katie Zapp.
the Zappa is in the house. She was so instrumental
What did she
in
say?
The Infinity
can't
Protocol. Is truly an adventurous read. The sequel is engaging and full of history. You guys are in for a treat. She is so right.
You know, the book that's coming out now, the new book to that, is actually set in medieval Sicily under the reign of Stupor Mundi, Frederick II.
Love that.
So it's basically a historical time travel fiction book that I think will captivate your imagination. So that'll be coming out very shortly.
Let me just answer Alfio.
Alfio.
Our buddy Alfio. So good to see. And hello to Angie. Listen, he said the rocks of Fraglione Formation in Architects in the water look like arancini. They sure do. Now, let me tell you guys about those rocks. And we've had Architects on here many times. But what people don't know, that before Mount Etna, that's where the first volcanic activity happened, right here in Architects. Because what happens is we're on the between the Eurasian and African plates, and what happened thousands and thousands, I'm talking 100,000 years ago, is that those plates started moving. And so what happened when there's activity, there's energy formed, there's vapor, and molten lava started coming out from the water. So that's the formation of Architects. And by the way, even before Mount Etna, there were many other baby volcanoes. There's Monte Rosso, there's a bunch of little volcanoes that erupted for several thousand years, then they became dormant. Same with the ones down here in Architects. They erupted for a while, formed, hardened, and then there was another activity. And now we have Mount Etna, one of the tallest and most active volcanoes in Europe.
You know, my daughter Katie, I want to get back to my daughter Katie. Besides, we talk every single solitary day on the books, but we are simultaneously, as I said, working on 2 books, okay? But the highlight is going to be for me next April when Katie comes here. And I promised her, Esther, I have to discuss this with you.
Are we making an announcement on here now?
No, she's a wonderfully talented artist. She's a Renaissance woman, but she got into playing her piano again and singing, and she wants to see if we can get her an opera lesson. Do you know anybody that does the opera?
I actually do.
Ah,
I actually do.
all right.
Hey, I want to say hello to Something from Italy and give her a shout out, because Something from Italy has a monthly package that you can get delivered to your home in the United States. I believe only United States, but correct me if I'm wrong, maybe Canada also, with things from all the regions of Italy. And I believe last month was Sicily. So very exciting. Somethingfromitaly.com. And if you put in You, Me, and Sicily, you get some kind of a bonus discount or something. Love the history class. Great. Okay. We've got a lot of great
You know,
people over here watching.
Esther,
We appreciate you
honestly,
being here with us.
Sicily is living history. Sicily is living history. You cannot avoid history because there's only so much pizza and pasta and pesce spada that you can eat without running into a freaking ruin. Like, say, for example, in Architretta or Segesta or some of these places that's
Not
thousands of
Architrezza,
years,
Agrigento.
Agrigento, that's thousands of years old. So naturally, you want to study about it. That's the biggest suggestion I could have. If you're a first-time visitor coming to Sicily, you ought to read about the places you're going to. So when you're looking at something, you got to have an understanding and, most importantly, an appreciation of what it is you're looking
Or
to.
you have a local guide
Yeah,
that
but
explains
I
to
think
it.
it enhances the whole thing by doing that. I'm looking forward to the whole business on the Odyssey, not because we're going to have a good time, which we're going to have,
We always have a good time on our
but it's
tours.
got to expose Sicily again to people to come here and maybe on a holiday.
Yeah.
And of course, we definitely need tourism here. And to me, I'm like, okay, let's go it. Let's do
Now,
it.
you
And
know, the other thing we've been toying around, and I think this is the year that we're going to do it, probably in September, is having a golf slash Pilates slash lots of vineyards and cooking and sort of a wellness in between visiting some historic sites. So that's something else that we're looking on doing in 2027. Of course, this year we still have our October tour that's still open, October 7 to 17. And Architrezza will be one of the towns that we'll be visiting, and maybe we'll even eat. I don't know if you saw on the Odyssey video, there's a pizza maker down in Architrezza that the actual oven is the one-eyed cyclops, and the pizza cooks right inside his mouth. So it's very cool. So there's be a lot of that type of theme also in October. And in October we have Ottobrata, which is Oktoberfest over there in Zafferana, Etna, the largest food festival in all of Italy. I mean, it is impressive.
wait a minute, there was another tour called the Legends Tour that we had a cancellation on, and we're offering.
We do have one now.
We
for new customers we have, and I saw B and Don Green would like to talk to us about our Legends Tour, which is October 19th to
B,
29th.
you get a huge discount because we had a medical cancellation. They deferred, and the other people that are coming, you know them. They're veteran travelers like you and Dawn, and it's going to be a small group. I think 8 people, something like that, plus me and Esther. So that'll be 10.
That'll be perfect.
It'll be a great tour. Okay, if you guys come to make my day, that's for sure.
That's going to be all the legends together
That's
again.
really all the legends will be there.
Almost all the legends will be
We
there.
need Joe Renda.
So we keep talking about legends. Well, Legends Tours is something we came up with a couple of years ago. First one was last year. With some of our repeat travelers, we're trying to find these new spots all over the island to bring you there, right? Because you can only do the same things over and over again. So we're trying to find new places. And on this Legends Tour, October 19 to 29, there's places like Marzamemi, not Marzamemi, Marzara del Vallo. We're going to go to Seljuninti, which we haven't done. We've been there, but we haven't done a tour on that. We're going to go to Termini Emeresi and Himera, the ancient Greek temple of Himera. So those are some of the new things. And our home bases are Castellamare del Golfo, right on the marina, and also Cefalù, 2 great towns and a great tour. And by the way, I haven't even told you this one. But I talked to Gasper, not Gasper, why am I drawing a name? And Camille, they're going to do a cooking demo over there in Mondello. Reno, but I have them saved as Gasper. Reno, and they're going to do a cooking demo. Maybe we'll do the same dish, the zucchini dish that we did in one of the cooking demos we did a few weeks ago.
If you're looking ahead, I want to give you one more date before we close now. In another couple of minutes, we'll be closing this up. However, I need to talk to you about the Sicilian project. Listen to this. I'm not going home in April for next year because I'm having Katie come here. Okay. Instead, I'm going to go home for 6 weeks. The last 2 weeks of July and all of August, if God wants, in 2027. This one, I talked into coming as well. So she's going to come for 3 weeks. In the 3 weeks that she's going to be there, we're going to have our Sicilian project meet and greet. Actually, it'll be a Yumi and Sicily meet and greet because we're going to be sponsoring it. On behalf of the Sicilian project, it'll be the first, I think we said, I haven't told Giovanni yet, right around the 8th or 9th.
The 12th of August.
Excuse me, the 12th of August in Lawrence, Massachusetts. I have to talk to Mike at Salvatore's restaurant, but she will be the star of the program. I will be strictly security and logistics.
No, you've been fired from
And we're going to
logistics.
also
You've
have
been
the
fired
drawing,
from logistics.
drawing for our fundraising raffle that day as well. So that'll be a great time. So that'll be in August. I'll be home along with the bunch that she's coming home for 3 weeks.
So listen to this. There's some people already interested in the golf and Pilates. That's so exciting. Now, let me just, before we close up, I got to tell you, I cooked 2 things here in Sicily that I can't even believe I'm telling you this, but I never done it. And one of them, I bit the bullet and bought one of those long cucuzza zucchinis, like the really long one.
Delicious, by the way.
Came up to here. I don't know why I never thought about buying it, but June, July, August, and well, yeah, June, July, August, part of September are the only time for the season. I love zucchini. And I just said, you know what? I haven't tried it. So I bought one of those and I made it with, I circled them and I made a little bit of minestrone where I bought fresh tomatoes with onions and garlic, sort of a stew. The other thing I did, that those long zucchinis, they also come with the leaves called the tenerumi. Okay, that my first attempt wasn't the very best. I'm still working on that dish, but basically I boiled it and didn't put garlic and olive oil. Just boiled is not the best way to have it. Next, I'm going to do garlic and olive oil.
Let
So
me
that's
tell
fun.
you what the best thing I've had since I've been back now 2 weeks. Our friends down at Raitana's farm that she goes to all the time gave us, well, she purchased 4 figs. I had 2, Esther had 2, and honestly, I ate the 2 figs, and I saw, I don't know who the heck the god of figs are, right? They just
This
melted,
is the period.
melted in my mouth, right? And I was so happy to
Listen,
have what?
Ray, stepping up to the plate again. I'd love to help with meet and greet this next year.
Ray
Music
is-
Light.
We need you,
Grazie
Ray. We need
mille.
you. Nicest guy in the world, I'm telling you.
We have
Unbelievable.
the best community. I just love seeing all the people here on Sunday. And listen, it's
Why
time.
don't you guys become members of our community? It's $1.99 a month. There's an icon you
Ooh.
press, and what we do with the money, we throw it in our gas tank so we can go gallivanting all over the place. Is it $1.99 a month?
There's $1.99 and $2.99
Yeah.
options once a month. Christine Pinelio says, cucuzza add potatoes. Good idea.
Hey, I never had that with
Or
potatoes.
or here we go. Love cucuzza. My father used to
I
grow
love
them back in New
cucuzza.
York
I
City.
love cucuzza.
Listen, thank you so much for sticking here with us. This was a lot of fun. Alfio Zappola, I love our Sunday. I love
Katie
our
Ray, chamomile iced tea. Because of you, she turned me on to chamomile iced tea.
very
She used to
good.
make it for me when I was in the States, and now Esther makes it for me here, and it's terrific. Right?
See you guys on another video next week. I'll be having that interview with the Baron, or I don't know what his title
One
is.
last favor.
Ciao.
Wait a minute. Send Esther a message, okay? Esther, we want more lives, okay? Because I love doing these things. It's so much fun. Sabenediga.